All right, so game number 4 that we have here, Magnus played this game against Stig Tomsland, might be mispronouncing that. Once again, Magnus was only 11 or 12 years old when he played this game, and you're going to see him play with laser precision into endgame, so that's where we're going to focus a lot of our time here. I'll put the, yeah, there we go, study link. I've already put it in the chat, and we will take a look. So Magnus had the white pieces here. The very young Magnus plays Queen's Gambit style, and we see e4. White has all the space, and this is a decently common pattern in chess where one side takes all the space and the other side just develops solidly and prepares to counterstrike when the time is right. And although far from symmetrical, the chances are pretty balanced here, and the engine recognizes that White's space advantage isn't all that it seems because it gives only 0.4 as the advantage for White here. So Black plays pawn to d6, and Black plays knight to a6, preparing perhaps to play c5 and strike at the center. White castles, Black plays e5, and question for you guys, if White takes what looks like a free pawn on e5, can you see what Black has in store? What's Black going to do? This move looks like a blunder because it's only defended once and White can take. So I'll go ahead and show you these couple moves. This will make the calculation perhaps a bit easier to visualize. I have not seen the move in the chat yet. What does Black do here? I'll give you a hint. This bishop is a nice piece, and this knight is undefended, so you could potentially take advantage of that fact. Yep, knight takes e4. Yep, well spotted
I was just
by
about to
Oliver. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, yeah, the queens, it's kind of tricky because the queens are eyeing each other, but it doesn't actually matter that much in this particular position. But yeah, knight takes. Black would just get the pawn back. You know, if White takes like this, Black would take the piece, and it's basically a trade of pawns, and Black has equalized in the position. So Magnus spotted that idea and opts to improve a piece instead of trading, which is very often the wiser choice in chess. So he does improve a piece. Black plays this kind of strange move, queen to e8. Bishop goes back, pawn goes here, pawn to d5. White is grabbing even more space. Rook moves over. Magnus grabs more space on the queen side. Pawn trades, knight takes, knight hops into the center. This is a nice outpost for the knight. Black very sensibly does not want to let the knight stay there. So he trades, knight goes back, bishop here. And White continues to grab the space with the move pawn to c5. The knight goes back. If Black had taken, like this pawn takes, and White's already got an a pair of, or yeah, one protected passed pawn here on d5 after this. So this would be good for White. So Black can't really allow that. White improves the queen to b3. Black moves the king. White goes backwards with the knight, but it has plans. And if your knight ever doesn't seem to be doing much, you want to look to see if you can improve it by going backward to go forward. Because somewhat often, knights have to take a silly looking path in order to improve. So like it wasn't really doing a whole lot here. You know, it's attacking a pawn that's defended 3 times and basically hitting nothing else that's meaningful. So it needed to go back. But then it's got a great path to improve. And often you do have to go backward to go forward with knights. So Black plays this move, pawn to f5, which stops this idea, but not this idea. So Magnus brings in the knight, queen goes up, and knight comes here attacking this undefended pawn. And Black plays this move, and he's starting a kingside attack, so Magnus has to be kind of wary of that. Bishop goes back, pawn here, and this is a nice move here by Magnus. because check this out. If the pawn takes the knight, we take like this, and we're going to win another piece because we are attacking both the knight and the rook. So that's a very mean move by Magnus. So of course, black doesn't let that happen. Saves the bishop, Magnus saves the knight. Queen moves over to defend. Kick the bishop. And this is a correct sacrifice by Magnus. He gives up a rook in exchange for a bishop and a pawn. It was starting to get kind of aggressive by black. So he gives up the rook for the bishop and the pawn. Queen goes here, king goes back, and according to the engine, Magnus should have played either b5 or a4 here. After this move that he's about to play, it gets closer to equality, according to the engine. And the engine will continue to shift in black's favor over the next few moves. The one thing I'll point out, though, like black is pretty cramped in this position. So even if the engine somehow thinks black's okay, you always have to remember that chess is played between humans, and human players are likely to struggle to find moves for black. So even though the engine is going to say black is okay in a few moves, from a human perspective, you have to remember that this might be pretty difficult still for black to play. So the knight goes back here, and this is a bit passive by Magnus, I would say, although there is still a route back in the game. Takes quite a few moves, but the knight has a way of getting to e6 from the a3 square. Black defends this pawn. Queen moves over, blockading the passed pawn with a knight. Knights are the best blockaders of passed pawns because their mobility is not limited by blockading a pawn. So the knight is a good piece for that job. And now, here is a big moment. Can you beat Magnus? Find me a good move for black. Big moment in the game here. And I'll tell you, black did not play the good move.
Rook
Black missed
e5.
this opportunity. Rook e5. You played like Magnus's opponent, which is honestly pretty good, but that is not the move I have in mind. Rook e5 is what black played in the game.
Rook takes c6.
Rook takes c6?
E6.
E6. Rook to e6, that's this square, so he wouldn't, that can't be it. Not bishop to b2.
I mean e4. Rook takes e4.
Oh, e4, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, rook takes e4, brilliant. Well spotted, David. Exactly. Rook to e5 was the move played in the game.
I saw it from the study.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That
No
little
worries.
cheater.
Hey, at least you told me. He's better than most
Yeah, that's
cheaters.
true.
That's
That's
good.
true. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, well, good job to anyone who found this. This is great. You're sacrificing a rook for a bishop and a pawn, which is exactly like white did a few moves ago. And the key thing is, once the d5 pawn falls, the c6 passed pawn is going to become very weak. And like because this b pawn can't move, it's basically an isolated pawn. And black can then pile up on the c6 pawn. And again, once the d pawn's gone, it's hard for white to actually defend it. So sometimes even when it's a passed pawn, if it's deep in the opponent's territory and it has no pieces or friendly pawns that can support it easily, that is not going to be good for you. It's going to be difficult for you to defend. So yeah, this could have happened. Queen takes, you're attacking all kinds of things, so you pretty much have to trade. Knight takes, and again, this pawn is weak, and also white's remaining pieces are pretty bad compared to black's. And so, black would have a good position. He could possibly beat Magnus here, but Tomslin did not find the exchange sacrifice. He missed this opportunity, and the game went on. I'll show you. Yeah, engine says top move is rook takes. And by the way, yeah, whoever said bishop to b2, good job, because that was the second move and also gives black a good position. Yeah, so rook to e5 happened. This is about equal now, and the rook goes back, the knight goes back, the pawn goes up, takes, and okay, here's a moment. Find white's only move in this position. White's got one move to keep him in
Rook
the
e3.
advantage. Yep, correct. Rook e3. because you've already
Also
got
saw that
two.
from the study.
Cool.
I bet you did.
You've also got, yeah, you've already got two pieces bearing down, and rook to e3 is going to have three pieces attacking this pawn. And the nice thing about this for white is it's a lot of small pieces, and the queen is what I call the leading defender. It would be the first one to take and the first one to get lost if a series of captures were to happen. And you don't want this. If you're black, you don't want your leading defender to be the queen. You don't want to have to like trade off the queen for smaller pieces. So this, because the queen's the leading defender, even if you play like rook to f7, it's no good for black because white can just take, and you don't want to take with the queen and lose it for only a rook and maybe a bishop. So yeah, the pawn is going to be lost in this position. This was the only move. Rook takes, queen goes down with the check, and here is a nice moment to pause. Can you find me a tactical trick in this position for Magnus? I'll read that after the lesson, Ellie. I can't wait. And I'll give you a hint. Can you set up a puzzle racer style remove the defender tactic?
Without reading from Coach Daniel's lesson.
True. Oh, nice. Oliver looks like he's got it. Yep. Good stuff. Well spotted. Yep. The
Bishop
move is
H7.
bishop. Yeah, that's right. Move is bishop to h7. The rook takes. You take this rook with check, luring the king away from this rook, and then you get it. This is very nice. So yeah, well spotted, and well spotted by Magnus, who of course found this in the game. But did you notice that at the end of this line, both knights are hanging? This is kind of interesting. And we have yet another huge moment in the game here. Black takes the white knight, and now if you're white playing this position, what would you play? I feel like just about everyone.
Not queen takes c7.
Yeah,
5 check. Queen f5 check.
correct. Yeah. Queen f5 check is the move because if you play queen takes c7, which a lot of people would want to do, black has a thing that he can do here. And yeah, I'll go ahead and show you this move. Oh, yeah, the B, black has a moment. Black has a thing that he can do. The B4 pawn, he could take it, but that's not the right idea. Like, it doesn't matter. In the endgame, not all pawns are of equal value. You want to focus on the pawns that are going to either become a queen, or it could be important with helping another pawn become a queen. So you have to really choose the right pawns to focus on. So this is what black did. G takes h3, king moves over. There was no other better king move, and then this really nice queen check to win the defender, and now it's no longer a protected passed pawn. So that is an interesting line. But instead, Magnus found this move. Instead of taking the knight, he played queen to f5 check, king moves over, and the crazy thing here is that whatever the king did, Magnus had an answer. So if king to g8, he was going to play queen to c8 check, and then he takes the knight with check. And tempo is important here. You want to do these things with check because both queens are so active, and white is close to queening this pawn. So you want to steal as many free moves as you can. So that's why it's nice to do things with check. Alternatively, if we saw king to g7, we would see this. Queen takes pawn, and it's more material for white. If we saw king to e8, guess what? Queen to c8 check. He still takes the knight with check on the next move. So this queen to f5 check move was so nasty. It's so well played. King to e7 is what we saw in the game, and on either of these moves, Magnus gets to take the d6 pawn with check. And I'll give you a nice puzzle here. If king to g8, using that idea that we just saw, what should white play in this position? Exactly. Queen d8 check. You don't just take the knight. I mean, it's okay. I think it's fine in this position, but it's neater to do it with all checks. Why not have as many tempos as possible? So this is the best idea. Queen to d8 check. Yeah, top move according to the engine. Queen d8, and then you take the knight with check. That's the idea. So instead, we saw king to e8, queen to d7 check, king moves over, and would you take the knight here? What about this position? Is it safe yet?
No.
Good answer. It's not. This is crazy. You still have to be so careful because it is good. It's still like winning for white, but you still have to be so careful, and I would not recommend it because queen to f3 check happens. And there's only one king move that you can play here if you're white. What do you think it is? You've got three options, only one of them works.
The one that puts the king below the pawn.
This one?
Yeah.
This one actually would not work because the queen could check here. Black could also do this. Queen would check here and then check. And oh yeah, this was a cool line. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's what I just did. I've got so many moves here. Okay, G takes H3, and I mean this is a bit scary. But find me a way for white to stop checkmate. Find me a really nice sequence that white has. This is really cool. Yes, brilliant. Queen to d8 check. It's so nice. You attack the king and you attack this pawn, and when you take this pawn on g5, the queen defends the checkmate. So that's awesome. So that would be really cool. And so yeah, back to the actual game. Queen to f5, check happened. King went over here, and there were plenty of winning moves, but this move is extremely forcing and clean. Tomsland resigned after this move. If the king doesn't take the pawn, he gets mated soon, and if he takes, queen to d7 check happens, king to e6 is forced after that, and then what do we do? Final question, I believe. What do we play here? I hope not too many people would pre-move in this position. I'll
There
give you
was
that.
no checkmate, but this was its advantage. The last two numbers.
Uh, pay no attention to the last two numbers. Yeah, this is really nice. Queen to g7 check, and you don't want to play too automatically. Like, even in the middle of a forcing sequence, you should still look for better moves every step of the way. Because this looks like, oh, okay, I've won the knight. I can even take it with check. It's finally time to take it, but no. Basically, this is the game where you never take the knight. Because here you still don't take the knight, even when it's check, because eliminating the queen obviously makes the job way more easy than eliminating the knight, and so that's what you do, and that would be game over. And yeah, Tomsland resigned after move 50. So yeah, crazy stuff. I hope you guys remember that. Keep it in mind. That idea of doing things with check whenever you can. Very impressive calculation by Magnus. Any questions or any thoughts on the game? Anyone?
I like how like a whole third of the game was in the process of a sacrifice.
Yeah,
Like that was real cool.
yeah. Like the end game was so deep in terms of I mean, you look at the concentration of my comments. We went through the
Yeah.
the middle game and opening fast, and then the end game's like so deep. There was so much to talk about, so much interesting tactical stuff going on.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, thanks, coach.